Well, hello everybody. I'm Carly Youppi, Communications Strategist with the Sioux Falls School District, and today we are at Washington High School. We're sitting down with a group of Washington kids to talk about a huge change that took effect this fall. For the first time ever in the Sioux Falls School District, high school students are only allowed to use their phone during the lunch period. So we were wondering how the kids were feeling about this. So we invited these Washington kids to sit down and talk with us about the good, the bad, and everything in between. So let's get started. So when you first heard that the cell phone policy was happening this year, and you heard that the change was coming, what was your honest reaction? Like, were you for it? Were you against it? Were you unsure how it would go? Just what were your first reactions?
I was very unhappy with it because I found out midsummer, so I screenshotted it and sent it to all my friends and was like, are we serious right now? I was not happy.
I was kind of neutral about it. My only concern was enforcement, in the hallways and stuff, because you can't really chase down a kid and take their phone. So yeah.
I despised it. I knew there were already going to be complications with it, and the complications are already happening.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, as when I heard that it was happening, or even the school board, because the results were shared from the survey to the school board at a work session, and then they presented it at a school board meeting, and even the board was like, how are we going to enforce this? And there were doubts, I think, on everybody's end, so I can see where that would be tough. But then the reason that we're here is because Dr. Nold met with you guys at your student council meeting, and that was one of the discussions that we had. And I was really surprised to hear that you guys were all pretty okay with it. It's actually going okay. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're talking about this. But some of you mentioned at that meeting that it helped, I think it was maybe you, that it helped to start it at the beginning of the year instead of trying to force it mid-year. Why do you think timing mattered? Do you have an opinion about just starting fresh in the fall?
I think high schoolers, you really have to set that because we're very independent. Once we get out of middle school, it's almost a free-for-all. You can sit where you want, you can walk where you want, you do kind of whatever you want. So if they tried to put it in place middle of the year, I think a lot of kids would have been but we've spent the last semester not doing it and I've been fine, so why do you make me do it now? So I think immediately right when you walked in the building, it was there were signs everywhere. We watched a video on it. Every teacher went over it every time you stepped in the classroom. It was immediately there, so you knew, and it wasn't just a random change in the middle of the year that was okay, well, I was fine before, so why is it a problem now?
I also heard several of you say that you are talking to people a little more in the halls now, and even during lunch when you can use it. But can you give an example when you realized that the change was maybe actually a good thing? James is still I'm not sure it's a good thing.
I remember one specific class period. It was probably the first week of school, and I'm walking into my third period class. And walking the opposite direction, there's this entire group of kids who I've known for a lot of years, but you don't really, you didn't interact with people in the hallway, I feel for such a long time, because everyone was just looking at their phones in between classes. And I vividly remember having 10 people say hi to me. Yeah. In the span of walking into one class period. And I was whoa, that was a lot. It was more than, the usual amount. It was enough for me to really notice a difference there.
Yeah. I would say, after, the first week, I realized that I was no longer, constantly looking down at my backpack to see if someone had messaged me or, I wasn't attached to, having it on my desk or in my pocket. I was just used to it, and I was, more focused there and not worried about if I was missing something on my phone I had been in the past.
Yeah. Do you guys, do you turn it off, or do you just keep it in your, bag, or?
I just put it in my bag.
Yeah,
me too.
Okay. So we've talked a little bit about the social side, so now let's talk a little bit more about being in the classroom and not being able to use it. I'd love to hear what's happening in class now. Have you noticed a difference in your focus and how you're paying attention more in class or feeling more focused since the policy changed?
I think in some classes, yes, I'm okay, I'm really focused. And then other classes that I'm a lot of the times when I'm in third period or fifth period, because I just get back, or I'm excited for lunch or I'm getting back from lunch, those ones is kind of hard because I'm I either know, yes, I get to be on it again in 30 minutes, or I was just on it at lunch and now I have to put it away again. So I think those two periods I find it a little harder, but otherwise I feel after those times it just falls in the bottom of my bag and I don't remember. So
sure. For me, I think I was able to control my phone usage like last year, and like the kind of student I am, I was never really on my phone unless I like could be. So I feel like it's not really like helping my focus. Like my focus was already there, but I do think it's helping my peers focus. So it's kind of a price I'm willing to pay for like the general good of everyone else, is to like sacrifice my phone time so other people can really lock in and do their work.
Do you think it's changed like how teachers interact with students? Like, are teachers, I mean, I don't know that teachers were like on their phones before, but like has the dynamic changed with like the student teacher interactions?
I don't know if I would say it's changed that much. My biggest thing that I would notice a difference in is, like, when I first heard about this, one of my first thought was, okay, well, our teachers aren't getting paid to enforce phone rules, right? Like, they went into teaching to teach, not to police kids on their phones. And I think that has been something that can either go for harm or for good. Do you know students where they're going to get really mad at their teachers for taking their phones, or they're going to understand because it's not that teacher's choice, it's a district thing.
Yeah. Yep. And what is like what happens if like a student is caught with it, or what do you?
It's a warning the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's an office referral.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really depends on what teacher you have, that like if you see someone, because like some teachers are like not lax with it, but they're like, okay, like just put the phone down, and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll put it away. And then some teachers are like a little much with it. Like I have one class where like we were all like we had all gotten up, like it was 3:09, like we were waiting for the bell to ring, and a girl wasn't even on her phone, she had it in her hand, and then the teacher got really mad and wrote her up, and it was all like the whole class was like, I don't know. Sometimes it depends on who you have, because I feel like sometimes it causes a little bit of a divide when it's like the extremes, but other times it's just like okay. Like
Yeah. Have you noticed overall people are pretty good about like leaving it be like following the rules?
I've
essentially?
only seen like one referral happen.
That's great. And we're a month and a half into school?
That's pretty good.
Pretty great. Yeah. I wondered if there would be like some rocky like learning time, but it sounds like it's really been going well. Do you think like grades have improved? Like again, like you talked about your peers, like do you find that it's maybe helping like everybody just do a little better in their classes?
I personally think it has, but I think it's more because of that like collaboration aspect, and also people are more inclined to like talk to their teacher about their questions rather than like search it up on their phone. And I think the ability for us to like talk to each other, not even only about school stuff, but just like in general, is really helping us, and we're just like more inclined to just talk to people. I think it's really beneficial.
When we were in that meeting, one of you guys shared, I don't know if it was one of you four, but somebody said that you like that it's a district-wide policy because, okay, I loved that. I wrote that down because I really thought that was really thoughtful, that like, because it's a district-wide thing, nobody at Jefferson or Lincoln or Roosevelt are on their phones. So it's not that like you don't have that fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Can you maybe talk a little bit more about that? Maybe why you shared that?
Yeah. So I think it's really important to me because I love my friends from my other schools, but I also know that if I was on my phone, it's not like they're going to respond. Yeah. So it just kind of, like, the FOMO aspect really died down because I'm not, like, missing something important on my phone, or I'm not missing an important text. Like, I can just do my work without, like, the thought in my mind that I'm, like, missing something influential happening on my phone.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
my best friend goes to Lincoln, and it's the same there as it is here, obviously. So like I never have to worry about like something crazy happening and me missing out. Like if I text her at 8 o'clock before I walk into the building, she won't respond until 11:45 when we're at lunch, and then I'll respond, and then we won't hear back till like 3 o'clock. Like it's just a lot easier that way because I no longer feel like I'm missing something at all because everyone's the same.
Yeah.
So now we'll talk about maybe some of the challenges. So most of you said that you feel good about the change. I do still imagine James is ready to go. I imagine that there are probably some tough moments. What are the times that you really wish you could use your phone, like maybe to check a text or, you know?
Honestly, I feel like hallway, or between classes, I feel like shouldn't be enforced, because then like some people brought up the fact that like, oh, they might need to see text messages or like probably even phone calls that are important, and they probably won't be able to see it until like probably lunchtime or the end of the day. Or like me, who I'm an athlete, where like sometimes like last year my coach would send messages like throughout the day to remind us, and then we just check on our when we're in the hall, but like now like we won't know anything until last minute, and that's kind of like that kind of brings an issue into it.
Yeah, to piggyback off what James said, like, I have been part of our softball program the past 3 years, and being in the sprint, it's like we never know when our games will be because sometimes it gets snowed out or weather.
Sure.
So our coach would always just message out at like, she would know by sixth period, okay, no game, and that's how we would find out. So like eliminating that communication way, it just makes it really hard for all of us to know, okay, we go here after school, or we're supposed to be at the fields, we still leave early, or things like that. So like, it cuts out that aspect and it makes it a little more difficult to communicate.
Yeah, I really agree with both of them. I have like kind of two caveats to this. For like the communicating with coaches, I've already had like 2 instances where like our internet was down and I couldn't, like, emails weren't being sent, and it was just really complicated. And like being part of our debate team here, it's kind of important that we have that communication aspect because a lot of things can change quickly. So I really wish there'd be an easier way to communicate with coaches. And then second, during like blended or AP study periods, I think it's a little bit unfair for those who choose to stay in the library that we aren't allowed to like be on our phones to like change the song or something. Like, obviously I'm not like scrolling on TikTok, but like being on my phone to just do something little is something I would like, a privilege I wish I had during AP study, because the kids who choose to leave the school can do whatever they want. So yeah.
I would agree. It is a little it can feel a little bit frustrating at times knowing like, okay, I have 7th period AP study. If I have a club after school, I can't just go sit in the library and hang out, because sometimes I have no homework. You know, sometimes there's nothing to be done and I just want to sit on my phone. I don't want to have to go all the way out to my car to sit on my phone, you know, because then I have to walk all the way back into the building. Like, there's certain little situations like that, and I understand that most kids in the library are there for a class. You know, like these little freshmen, they're going to see me on my phone and think that it's okay for them to be on their phone, even though it isn't.
Yeah.
But it can be frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Do you think the benefits from this outweigh those frustrations, or are they a big enough problem that you are like, you would rather not have this, or do you think it's just kind of finding that balance?
I feel like it's like kind of equal. I feel like if they enforced it more in the classroom,
Yeah.
I understand, but like bringing it like into the hallways and stuff is kind of the where it's like now it's just the point where like that's kind of like too much, because if I understand like if you're enforcing it more in the classroom, you're trying to get more students to pay attention and all of that, and then but in the hallway, like, yeah, we added that new system to know like 1 minute, but sometimes I can't even hear the music.
Sure.
So I won't like,
Yeah.
and I can't go on my phone to check the time to
Yeah.
know like how long I have, because there are times where like I have to walk all the way from like E wing to like A wing,
Sure.
and I don't know how long that'll take me if I have time to stop, use the bathroom, because I don't really like using the bathroom in class, because it feels like I'm like missing something.
Yeah.
So I normally take that to do that time like in the hallway. So I like not knowing what time it is in the hallway, it just feels like I'm rushed, kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think one problem is it's like a very set policy, but it doesn't take into account the broadness of like all the students. Like, we have kids with medical conditions that need phones. Like, and they've been able to adapt to that, but there's still always that concern. And it's like, if a teacher doesn't know when a kid gets in trouble for that, or in situations where it's really drastic with the office referral, because you can lose so much for a lot of kids. Like, you're not allowed to have office referrals if you're in NHS or in like things like student council. Like, we take those things into account. So like implementing that when you don't know every situation, or like Riley said, like if she wants to sit in the library on her phone, some kids don't have the privilege to have a car in the winter. So where are they if they want to just have a break in their day, they have to go sit outside in the snow to be on their phone. Like, it doesn't take into account everything. And like, I use, especially as a senior, like my personal email is getting a lot more full because I'm hearing back from colleges, I'm organizing my FAFSA, I'm doing all of that, and the only way for me to access that is on my phone. And if I want to do some of that or finish college applications or finish things like that I don't have on my Chromebook, I can't utilize all my time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I really agree with Molly there. Like, I think it's important that we account for like the nuances of life. Like, everyone has a different situation, and obviously I can't speak to like those students who don't have a car to go to because I have the privilege of having a car, but I can imagine for them, like, it's probably very hard to not be able to have your phone. But something I can really speak to is like, not even being able to use like personal devices like AirPods or like my personal computer, because for the activities I'm involved in, a lot of the times the things I need to access are like blocked by the school, or I just have files on my computer I need to be able to see, and not being able to go on that during like my free designated period can sometimes be really frustrating.
I think this is a perfect transition into this, but so if the district asked you for your feedback before next year, what would you tell them? What kinds of adjustments would you want them, or maybe a little bit more flexibility is kind of what I'm sounding like.
My one thing that I really pushed for and that I think should be in effect is the AP study thing, where it's like we already have stickers, and I don't know if every high school's like that, but we have stickers that say my AP studies this period, or I have blended this period. And if you show a teacher that, I feel like you should be allowed to listen to your music, use a personal device. Like one day I wanted to read on my Kindle and I wasn't allowed to. Like I'm obviously not doing anything that's not good. Like I'm reading a book because it's not available in our library or something. So just like having that flexibility with kids when they're not actually interrupting a classroom or interrupting a hallway system and simply just doing their own work, I think we should extend that to them.
I kind of agree on her. And then there's also times where, like, I think it was, Friday or Thursday where the internet was completely down. And I feel like in situations like that, because I have AP Study 6 period, and I don't really go home because I live kind of too far to go home. So in cases like that, I just stay in the school. Most of my classes, most of my stuff I do online. So it comes down to the fact of, like, if the internet's down and I can't access nothing on my computer, what am I, like, supposed to do? Because then even if I get handed the paper, like, in bio, there are times where, like, we have a lab, but I can't access the lab because it's online. And, like, I have Canvas on my phone, and I can't really, like, go on my phone because of the policy, you know?
Sounds like small little tweaks and little exceptions and a little bit more flexibility would really go a long way. So my last question before we wrap up is I would like to hear from all of you. In one sentence, how would you describe the impact the policy has had on your school year so far?
I think it's improved my focus.
It's like 50-50.
Sure.
Because it's like, I prefer working when I'm able to, like, listen to music and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, not being able to do that now is kind of like, do I really want to do my work now and stuff?
Yeah.
I'm demotivated, yeah.
Okay.
I think the phone ban is extremely beneficial for some reasons, and those reasons outweigh the drawbacks.
Okay.
I would agree. I think for me, my biggest thing is that it has allowed me to talk to people so much more, and I actually have meaningful conversations with people that aren't just, hi, how are you, in the hallways anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think, this just made me think of one more question, but do you think if there was that flexibility and not such like a harsh across the board, I mean still across the board, but just a little bit more flexibility, do you think kids would still follow the rules?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, you have confidence in your classmates that they would.
I think if it's given as a privilege, and it's like if it's given, but if you obviously get a referral in class or get a warning in class, then they take that ability away from you. Like that would be understandable. But for those of us who like have never been written up or consistently behave well and follow our policies, I think giving that grace would be
Yeah. Sure.
very nice.
I would agree. I would say that the students that are going to be on their phone are going to be on it regardless of policy.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, the kids that
Yeah.
are going to find an issue with that are going to be on it regardless of whether or not teachers are flexible about it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like how they say, it all comes down to the student. Like, if they choose to be on their phone, like, when they know they shouldn't, it's kind of on them, because then they can't complain in the end
Yeah.
if they have, like, a bad grade or something because they chose to be, like, not listening. But then, like, you should also, like, punish the ones who are, like, getting A's and stuff and, like, doing good in their classroom, because, like, you want everyone to follow the rule. It all comes down to, like, how the student is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here and taking the time. I really appreciate it, and for the honesty, because truly I just wanted to hear how it was, good or bad. I think it'll be really good for people to hear too, because I think as a society we're like, oh, kids are always on their phone, they're just tied to it, and like it's just not the case. So thanks for being here. Good luck with the rest of the year.